Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It's another traveling Sophie day. But this is going to be a quick message, and the title of this transmission is, What Are You Investing In? And the way that I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to present it to you is from the standpoint of investors, okay? Investors that are into stocks or ETFs or cryptocurrencies or anything like that, okay? You have a lot of different investors out there, right? So you have some that, let's say if they have $600 worth of disposable income, might pick 6 different stocks and put $100 in each of these stocks. Okay. And they're kind of diversifying their portfolio a little bit, and they're going to see which one of these stocks actually grow. And what ends up happening is, some of the stocks may rise, some of them might tumble, and one of them might give you a return on your investment. But the return on your investment is going to be according to how much you actually invested in that stock. And then you have others, okay, who take their time and do what we consider trending analysis, okay? And what they'll do is they are longer term investors, okay? And they'll find out when something is low and they'll start investing then, and they'll continue to put money, into this one stock because they understand the trends of rising and falling. And what ends up happening is a lot of these huge investors or long-term investors might take the entire $600 and put it in that one stock that they were following, for a while. And even if it takes like a downward spiral, they understand the market, they understand what is bullish, they understand what is bearish, and over a course of time, they can accumulate great wealth based off of the amount that they invested in that stock. And then you have others, that may be more of a penny stock person, okay? Maybe they just like options, a whole bunch of different options. And maybe out of the $600, they're only invested $50, in 12 different stocks or something like that, okay? You figure out what I'm saying. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up to you, collective, because some people approach their relationships this exact same way. And you need to be wise enough to know, when you are being diversified, if you are an option, okay? Or, if you are a long-term investment. Now, a lot of people, when they're approaching relationships, okay, sometimes they want the fastest return, okay? So they can choose, or you can choose to invest in someone that you think is going to give you the fastest return, right? But what typically happens when that happens? All right. Once it hits a pinnacle, it's getting ready to become a downward trend. You take the money back that you've invested in, and then you put it in another stock, or maybe even the same stock again. Okay. But typically you'll try to move it around a little bit. Okay. So after you have already capitalized off the investment that gave you the return, if you're a day trader, that same day, then you're on to the next stock, and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, okay, until you reach whatever you consider your pinnacle of wealth. When it comes down to your relationships, all right, there are those who will do it and treat it the same way. And the problem of this is, once they have already capitalized on what they felt like they was able to get from you, they're on to the next one, okay? And they just keep moving on and on and on and on and on like that. Never really get into the opportunity to see long-term growth, but very short intervals of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. I'm telling this to you because our relationships and way we view life has a lot to do with this as well. You are wanting to make sure, I don't care what kind of investor you are, okay? So if you are a short-term investor or like a day trader and you're jumping in and out and in and out, okay? Some people are approaching their relationships this exact same way. And then there are others, okay, who will take the stock, and when it's at its lowest, invest a huge amount of money in that particular stock, okay, and over time, watch it start to accumulate great wealth. And what I'm saying to you is sometimes the quickest and fastest way is not the best method for you. What are you really looking for in finding a partner? Finding a business partner, even investing in friendships, whatever it is. What are you looking for? Are you looking for the quickest way to get from point A to point B, okay? That might be short term for that particular season. Or are you looking for something to invest in long term that's going to bring you optimum happiness? All right. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is because we have to be careful when we're out here. All right. Look for some of the red flags to figure out whether or not you are a short-term option or if you're a long-term investment. We want to make sure that whatever we decide to do, in the season that we are picking and choosing what we're going to invest in, that we want to get the most optimum return out of our investments, period, and point blank. All right. So if you're emotionally investing in someone, make sure that that same emotion is being returned to you. Make sure that you're getting something out of it. Now, a lot of times, those of us who are divine feminines, we lead with, the heart space, right? And sometimes we feel like it is our job, it is our duty to make somebody else feel a certain way, to bring them to a certain level of consciousness, to pour out or to constantly invest, but you're not getting a real return on that investment. Okay. What happens when your money runs dry? What happens when your energy runs dry? What happens when you're down? Okay. You have to figure out when you are partnering into a codependent relationship, i.e., if somebody tells me, that you make me happy, or I'm happy when I'm around you, that's a beautiful thing. Okay. And we understand that because I'm already happy. So what I'm doing now is sharing in my happiness. Okay. And if it becomes effective with somebody else and now they are now happy too, then that's beautiful. But the core point of it is I was able to share in that happiness because I was already happy myself. Do you understand? So now if you are being completely responsible for somebody else's happiness, then what you have just entered into is a codependent relationship where you're not going to get the return on your investment. As a matter of fact, that person, that is pulling on your energy is now leaving it up to you to affect their own mood. And that's too much power. All right. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to be day traded. And the reason you're going to be day traded is if you have an energy that is dependent upon you for their happiness, for their security, for making them feel good, for their serenity, for their peace of mind, that means that they already don't have it. They don't have it of their own accord. So what happens when you start getting low on energy, low on happiness? If something's continually pulling from you and you're not able to pour back into yourself, then eventually you're going to get wiped out. So now they have already optimized whatever that they can get out of that investment, and they're going to be looking for somebody else to do the exact same thing for them. All right. Pay attention to the red flags. When you're going to attract a mate, when you're going to attract a partnership, okay, you want to make sure that that partner is already happy. Okay, already in peace, already in serenity, already in joy, so that you two can come together and balance these things out. Now you have increased happiness, increased serenity, increased joy. You are not an option anymore. They have already heavily invested in themselves, and now they're trying to invest in you. And the same with you. Do you understand? Do you understand? So you have to make up your mind whether or not you are a day trader or a long-term investor. And if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, you need to pay attention to see if you are a day traded option or if somebody's actually willing to invest in you. Because when you are investing in another party, you have the ability to take the good and the bad, because it's not going to always be Guns N' Roses. I keep saying Guns N' Roses. That song, Sweet Child of Mine, sorry, has been playing in my head a little bit earlier today. It's not going to always be sunshine and roses. Okay. It's not going to always be beautiful. But if you continually invest in that stock that you think is worth it, because you have practiced trending analysis, because you have studied it, because you understand that it always has an upward trend, then what you'll figure out is later on your investment will become beautiful and the most prosperous and the most abundant for you. Sometimes the quickest fix is not the best fix. Okay? Sometimes the quickest fix will cause the biggest loss as well. And guess what? The people that take the biggest risks typically reaps the biggest rewards. All right. So understand what you are investing in. Take your time, okay? Understand who you are as a person. Are you a day trader? Are you looking for instant fulfillment, instant satisfaction, instant gratitude, instant happiness? Or are you willing to put in the work to achieve these things within yourself first, and then have an ability to pour it into someone else? And lastly, and most importantly, when you are drawing partnerships to you, is the person, people, okay, friend groups, whatever, are they already at a place of happiness so that you two can invest in a relationship long term and it can go the distance? All right. And if they are not, my suggestion to you is to release them. Let them go through the journey of finding themselves, of finding that type of happiness, finding that type of joy on their own, being in a state of peace, so that when they are able to connect with you, you two have a very strong foundation, and now you are an investment and not an option. All right? I am Sophie. That's all I have to say to you this afternoon. And I love you all. Take care. Bye.